Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Kevin's BBQ Joints, and this one is awesome. It's with Erin Feges from Feges BBQ. We talk mostly about their Spring Branch location. I was super curious, and I won't go too into it because Erin gives all the details. I ask her a million and one questions, and hopefully it covers everything that you're curious about. They are open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 9, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and then Sunday right now from 11 to 3. But in the interview, she talks about those Sunday hours will most likely be extended, and she'll explain why. This location just sounds awesome. It's like the Greenway Plaza location, barbecue-wise, but it's so much more. They offer so many more dishes. She goes into great detail, and they have great pride with what they're doing, and she describes the physical location, indoor and outdoor. It just sounds like a dream come true, and she talks about all the pitfalls and hurdles and the things that are going on in her mind because it's only been open a month. There's a lot of balls in the air, and they need to make sure it works. So the Greenway location's still open Monday through Friday. This location's open Tuesday through Sunday. On July 27th, they have a big wine event called Rhinestone Cowboy from 5 to 7. I'll put links to that below, as well as I'm doing a companion blog piece all about that. The best thing about this is that there's a nighttime option for Feges BBQ, as well as a weekend option for Feges BBQ, which there wasn't. Spring Branch is northwest of Houston, of downtown Houston, and I'll put a link to the map below. I can't thank Erin enough for taking the time, and Erin and Patrick for opening up something so wonderful. I know it's going to be a place that you're going to want to visit, and it's a place I'm going to want to visit so many times. And the Kevin's BBQ Joints podcast and YouTube show is brought to you by Flores Tortillas. Check them out, florestortillas.com. Tortillas with smoked beef tallow. That's all you need to know. Every Monday at 10 a.m. Texas time. They drop on the website. You can buy them in dozens. Ship them all across the United States. Again, that's florestortillas.com. And Centex Smokers. You can check them out on Instagram at Centex_smokers. Michael Johnson's just doing amazing work. Just beautiful stuff. Been welding since he was a kid. Give him a follow on Instagram. See his stuff. If you're not in the market for a pit, you'll just love what he's doing. If you are in the market for a pit, give him a DM to give you a quote. They're about 12 to 14 months lead time. Again, that's Centex Smokers. I have a website at kevinsbbqjoints.com with links to all my podcast, YouTube stuff, as well as all my crazy lists, which are hopefully really helpful. I have some new stuff on the horizon. It's almost done. I'm all doing it by hand. It's taking a lot of time, but I think you guys will love it. But at the end, stay safe. Thanks to Erin for taking the time. Good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon, I guess.
Good afternoon.
You said you're stressed, which makes sense. Like there's a lot of things in the air. How is today? Like, do you feel like it's starting to like become part of everything? It's like what you've been open a little longer than a month.
We've been open just less than a month. We opened on Father's Day weekend, and I was actually really calm, working really hard, but I went into like the first week of being open really calm, almost like I meditated every morning, and I just
Wow.
in and I had a big smile, and I'd be like, hey guys, we have so much to do today. It's gonna be great. Let's rock this out. And like now I'm stressed. Like the stress really crept in after that first week. And I think part of it's because like my expectations of things that should be running smoother, the expectation is there, but the reality is not meeting all of the expectation. And we got hit immediately with a lot of feedback, which is good.
Yeah.
But we got it like on day one. I mean, we were getting reviews on our very first day. Like I was getting Yelp updates. And so, yeah, so like I think we just got really spoiled with Greenway, but our clientele, it's a different clientele. We're getting used to a different neighborhood, and we love Spring Branch. We live in Spring Branch. Like, this is our neighborhood, but the dining patterns are different. The preferences are different. The way they read pricing is different.
That's fascinating.
So yeah, we're just kind of navigating all of that. And I think I have an expectation of like, we're going to be perfect. We're going to not make mistakes. And the reality is like, of course we're not there yet. And we'll never be there because nobody is ever perfect. So the stress is definitely coming from like, we need to get where we need to be, and we need to get there quickly. Like our service needs to be flawless. Our food needs to be flawless and consistent. And there needs to be a value that people can perceive. And that's really hard right now because the meat pricing is just so crazy.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to see the value in some things. And I have a hard time like coming to terms with that.
Yeah. Well, how do you, and like I have a thousand questions about this and how, because I wanted, like, I'm like, how, oh, are you going to be there more? Is Patrick going to be at the other, like, or is it going to be kind of a mix? Like, do you think, are you going to be at Spring Branch more? Do you think?
I mean, we've spent 3 years focusing only on Greenway Plaza. It's had our,
Yeah,
undying attention for so long. And because of that, and because of the staff we have there, they've been there for so long, and we all got to work together for so long. They don't need us in the same way that Spring Branch does. I mean,
for
Spring
sure.
Branch
That
is
makes
still
sense.
very much like an infant that really just needs a lot of help. And so that the nature of that certainly pulls us towards Spring Branch more and more. I still love stopping by Greenway Plaza. I mean, our son still goes to daycare over there. So like we have to physically be over there twice a day. And so we like to pop in, but I definitely get the sense when I'm there, I'm like, they don't really need me. Like they're
Which
just so self-sufficient. They're so good at what they do. And everybody there's been doing what they do so long. They know the customers,
Mhm.
they know the routine, they know how to execute, and which is great that we have the ability to be able to step away and focus on something else. But I mean, sometimes I just go because I'm just like, I miss you guys, and they're like, yeah, we're great, it's good to see you, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just take some photos for social media, I guess.
Oh, that's like, it's like heartbreaking, but it's like
Yeah,
it like fills your heart too. It warms your heart
yeah,
because that's what you'd want. And they've been through all, like, the pandemic and things, like all the difficulties that you can go through for a restaurant.
yeah,
And I guess, like, it is, as you were speaking, I was thinking about the customer, and how different it would be for there as opposed to at a stand. And this is it in a. Can you describe Spring Branch and kind of explain
yeah.
to people what
So
it's all about?
Spring Branch is located in a shopping center. We're in the end cap of a shopping center. It's about 5,000 square feet inside, plus just under 2,000 square feet of patio. So we have a lot
Wow.
of space, a lot of dining room, a lot of kitchen, a lot of outdoor seating. And our menu is very similar to Feges BBQ. We're still very much a barbecue restaurant. That's the core and the beating
Mhm.
heart of our menu. But we have a little bit more expansive sides options at Spring Branch, and a ever growing menu. So we have 3 salads that are available right now. We have a section called For the Table,
Yeah, I
which
saw that.
has some kind of fun items that you can order and share. We have mains, which are entrees. Like we're actually introducing a hanger steak tomorrow. No, we're really having fun. We're working with a chef that we hired. So up to this point, like a lot of the creative parts of the menu have been on Patrick and I, but going forward, we'd really like to work more with our chef and have this individual really kind of like take over.
Hmm.
Um, because we realize like if it's just Patrick and I, it's kind of limiting because we're so busy that sometimes we don't get around to like making the changes that need to be made because we just don't have the time to do it.
Makes sense.
So yeah, so we wanted to hire somebody that had a desire to kind of be in a barbecue restaurant, but be the chef side of the barbecue restaurant. And we
How
found a
how
really,
was that, hiring that person? Was that difficult? Was that a challenge for you?
we interviewed a lot of people. We interviewed a lot of people and we really wanted to find a good fit. And the good fit is, it's hard to describe. It's like, I don't even know that you could put it on paper. There's certainly things that we were looking for. Experience. The chef that we hired was really into Southern cuisine. He's originally from North Carolina.
Oh,
So he's familiar with barbecue. Barbecue is not a skill that he necessarily has, but he's grown up familiar with it. And Southern cuisine was kind of like where we were looking at somebody that was just really interested in kind of being creative on any level, not specifically with one genre of food. And he's great. And our general manager is great too. They're just really good people, and that's ultimately what you're looking for, is just like a good person who's
mhm.
going to take care of your team and help get the job done.
Yeah. And,
So
as we talked about in our previous interview, you've dealt with all different types of people. I won't
yeah,
even get into it, but you've seen it all. So you know what makes a restaurant work, and not just like to make it so it makes money. It's something that as a living thing, or as a thing, to make it work so that the staff are comfortable at all times and feeling,
Yeah.
acknowledged and working hard, like to create a team atmosphere. And then you brought that to Greenway Plaza, and I'm sure that's what you want to do with Spring Branch, right?
Oh, 100%. And I'd say that's probably one of the things that's, I don't know if challenging is the right word, but our Greenway team is small and it kind of grew organically. We hired, who we have now, we hired over the past couple of years and really got to know them. And then all of a sudden we have Spring Branch and there's 25 people. I personally can't name every single person on our team because we have some people that started
It's
today,
amazing.
started yesterday. And I struggle with that because I really like knowing and connecting with the people that I work with.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll get there. And I know that's coming, but we're just not there yet. And so it's weird for me when I walk into my restaurant and I look in the kitchen and I'm like, I don't know who all these people are. And I don't think they know who I am.
But yeah, like what?
And so that, it's unusual to me because we're so tight knit and we're so close at Greenway. And even like our managers at Spring Branch that started with us a few months ago, we just spent so much time together working and building this restaurant. And now there's all these new individuals, in the mix. And so it's challenging to get to know everybody. It's challenging to form like a genuine relationship with people. And also at this point, there's still a lot of movement. There's, people coming for 2 days and then we don't see them again.
Wow.
So it's also kind of hard because you're like, who do we want to, and who do I want to invest my time and energy in? Well, everybody, but
Yeah.
I can't, and not, so I'm getting to know everybody. Patrick knows like the half that I don't know.
That helps.
Yeah. So that like, he'll talk about people and I'm like, is that this person? And he'll, confirm. But no, it's good. It's so different. It's just bigger. It's so amplified.
Yeah.
But it gives us the opportunity to do a lot more and to have, more fun with the menu.
Yeah. When you're open 11 till 9 o'clock Tuesday
Yeah,
through Saturday, and then Sunday you're 11 to 3 or 11 to 4 or something like that.
exactly. So Tuesday through Saturday, we're 11 to 9. On Sundays, we're 11 to 3. And then we're closed all day Monday.
How do you like that? I remember that. That's pretty good memory. I can't believe that. That's I can't,
Yeah, you
I don't
did a
know.
good job.
I don't think I know.
I'm doing a horrible job plugging my own restaurant, and you're doing a really good job.
No, we're just bouncing off each other. But but that's also too because Greenway is only open for what, breakfast, lunch, essentially, or like our late breakfast, lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, Greenway's open for breakfast. We just started doing breakfast again now that people are back in the office. But
Okay.
Greenway is open for breakfast at 8 a.m. and then 8 to 10, and then from 11 to 2 for lunch.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and but Monday through Friday. So previous to Spring Branch, there was no good Feges BBQ weekend option. So
Exactly.
I think that's the real exciting thing, is that we're able to serve people on the weekends and dinner.
Yes. Yeah, how is that? Like that's interesting, and that must be exciting for you because that's what you
Yeah,
love. That's awesome.
dinner's busy. I wish there were like a lot of examples of this so that we could have gone in and been like, oh, this is how our business is going to be. But there aren't a lot of people in barbecue that stay open for dinner. So it was hard to kind of gauge what dinner sales were going to be like. I think we're more of a neighborhood restaurant at dinner than a destination. So our dinner crowd is our neighborhood. And not necessarily the huge barbecue aficionados, although we do see a lot of barbecue people coming in at night too, but like dinner is crushing it. And frozen margaritas are crushing it. Like,
I didn't know that.
I
didn't know you had frozen margaritas. Now it changes everything.
Yeah, frozen margaritas, that's where it's at.
Wow.
In fact, if I could go back in time and just take beer and wine away and just serve margaritas, I feel like that's all you really need.
Wow. Is it because of the heat right now? You think that's, or is it just, yeah, I got right? Yeah.
Big thing. I think it's the heat, but also I think Texans just really love a good margarita, or a margarita, because I think ours is good, but like, I'm not going to go out and say that it's good, but we sell a ton of margaritas. They're super refreshing. And I think people in Texas just love a margarita, and it's been, 108 degrees every day. So that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. And it'll probably be hot for the next 30 years, 500,
Exactly. It's never going
500
to not
years.
be hot.
And I was thinking, I texted my friend yesterday. I'm like, is it going to be hot forever? And he was like, yes, it's going to be hot forever. That's the style.
Patrick always looks at me and says, isn't it weird that of all the time, like of all the millennia to exist, that we're living at the end of the world?
That's an interesting way to look at it. It's
It's
sad though. It
like
is like, it does
terrifying. I
feel.
don't think he's wrong, but I'm like, yeah, I think we are living. We're
Yeah,
definitely at the end.
the end of human existence for sure. I think the things that survive, like the dinosaur age, they'll be here after us. But it's so. Is there like a lull then? Because it's only been, like you said, less than a month. But is there like a lull between lunch and dinner, or are you seeing that? Or are you seeing people hanging out there, and then also you have a full bar then, right?
We do beer and wine, and then we have our margarita. And our margarita is actually, it's considered a wine-based margarita. It's a product that we found that is,
I think I know what. I think I've heard of
it's
things.
agave based. It's not
Mhm.
technically tequila. It's agave based wine. It tastes just like tequila. It tastes like watered
Yeah,
down tequila.
yeah.
So the alcohol percentage is appropriate for our liquor license.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're just beer and wine, and we sell, we're really learning and pushing wine. I really still am committed to making like this wine and barbecue thing happen.
Thank
It's
you. I
a little bit of
appreciate
an
that
uphill
so much.
battle.
No, I love that. That's my dream, is that to marry those two. I think it's ideal.
I mean, I like drinking wine. Wine's good, barbecue's good, and there are some really phenomenal pairings. And I think it's a very appropriate drink for a barbecue experience.
Yes. So then you have Wine Wednesdays? Is that something that's going to go on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today's Wednesday.
Today is a Wednesday, yes.
Today is Wednesday, so we're selling a lot of wine today. Yeah, so on Wednesdays I choose a wine, and it's a wine I'm excited about, but really I'm excited about every wine on the menu. So we just have to get through 15 weeks until I get to the end of every wine on the menu, and then I'm just going to start picking at random. But we do half price by the glass and half price bottle of
Saw
that
that.
wine. It's a really great way to educate our staff, because that's one of the issues that we're having is we have this really ambitious wine program, and there's only really one wine trained individual, and that's myself. And I've been working to really train our staff to be comfortable with wine, but I took for granted that I just hang out with people that are into wine, and that we all know how to open a bottle of wine, and that we all know,
Oh,
Chardonnay is a white grape, or, I took all that for granted because we hired really great people. We hired really, really nice front of house. But many of them had never opened a bottle of wine. And so the comfort with this whole wine program is very much like not there. And we're getting there. Every week, Wine Wednesday is partly to help introduce our wines to the public, but it is also probably equally as important. It is a great training mechanism for our team. Every Wednesday, they really only have to master one wine. And
that's
over time, they will have mastered all the wines. But it's like today, instead of trying to know everything about 15 wines, know everything about this wine. And week after week, they're becoming experts on, the wine that is going to be featured that week. And so that's the
who
real,
knew that would turn out that way? That's a smart way, yeah.
but yeah. And so we're starting to get better at our whole wine service and managing our wine bottles and the inventory. And so
So you'll be selling. So is it, because having the fact that they're open, is it table service or is it lineup service? I've seen pictures, but I haven't seen anybody, and I haven't seen a wait staff. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's kind of like a hybrid. So you order at the counter initially, but once you're at your table, you have a server. So somebody will come, introduce themselves, and say, "Hi, I'm
Okay.
Chris. I'm your server. If there's anything you need, let me know. If you'd like a refill or some, condiments, like, I'll come back and check on you, but let me know if I can get you anything." Because the intention is really to try to prevent people from having to get back up. So once you've ordered and you're sitting, your food should come out to you. Refills should be taken care of. Somebody should be bringing you your silverware and your condiments. And that's our way of kind of keeping the casual barbecue vibe, but still giving you a level of service that's just kind of different than what most barbecue restaurants are offering. And another reason for that is because when you're going to sell booze, you really want to be able to sell multiple drinks. And not a lot of people want to get up to get that second drink. So
yeah, or get in a line or have like just a drinks only line. It becomes, that's a,
yeah.
you could add on to your meal through your server.
Through your server, exactly.
Or server host person or the,
yeah.
You call that? Yeah, no, you call
it. So they're not doing full service. They've got a large, they have a large area that they're covering with a lot of tables because it's not full service, but they're definitely stopping by, making sure that if you don't want to get up, you don't have to, that your needs should be met at the table.
So if you need more barbecue, you can get that. If you need desserts, okay. Yep. Excellent. Wow. That's really cool.
It's a work in progress. Like, this is one of the things when I said, when you asked what was stressing me out, it's these little things. The team is doing an amazing job. They're the nicest human beings. But we're still kind of trying to finesse the system and figure out what's going to work. But yeah.
Well, it's different to them too. It's like, it's different to the customers, different to them. I think it's going to take some time for people to, get proper footing in general.
Yeah.
Are you guys using, or is it just for photos, really nice plateware?
We do have some pretty nice plateware. We're doing like a combination of, so we purchased some plates from a restaurant that sadly closed in the middle of the pandemic, and they'd been around for, I guess almost a decade. And it was, it was a kind of like a Houston favorite. A lot of people really like this restaurant. We bought their plates off of them, and people still recognize them. They'll be like, "Are these the plates from Downhouse?" And we're like, "They are."
Wow.
And so we bought plates from them. So we were able to get some nice plates because, they had a great inventory of plates, and the owner, was a friend of ours. We've known him for a while. And, but then side by side with your nice plate, some of the food comes out, on the sheet tray, like the classic barbecue.
That's cool. That's interesting.
Sheet tray with a little liner. Yeah.
Nice juxtaposition. No, I saw it and I'm like weird about like in my next life, I want to have really interesting, mixed up, strange plateware. And I've seen like people with photos, and it just looks, there's some really unique stuff and really cool stuff. And then I saw your photos and I thought, wow, I didn't know if this was just for kind of presentation or if it was actually, wow, that's really cool. That's really interesting. So with the meats, and their meats are just by the half pound, like, is that kind of like how you graduate? Like, people aren't going to get quarter pounds and stuff. I hope they don't.
Well, no, we still sell. So on the menu, it's displayed as the half pound pricing, but you can buy the meats by the quarter pound. So most people, what we're finding is most people order a half pound. That's the most popular volume weight, but you can get it in any denomination of a quarter pound.
Okay. That's cool. But in the end, I think a quarter pound wouldn't satisfy many of at least the barbecue people, maybe like my mom or like something like, or something.
We opened on Saturday. Sunday was Father's Day. Sunday, we had a line out our door at like 10 a.m. We hadn't opened yet. And I'd just been telling our staff, like, we're going to be really busy on Sunday. Like, we're opening on Saturday. We're not really talking about the fact that we're opening on Saturday, but we are really advertising that we're opening on Sunday. We want, people to celebrate Father's Day with us. And, I've told everybody, like, prep up, be ready for a crowd. And Patrick and the smoke team, I just think that they had a hard time it's really hard to assume that you're going to sell a ton of barbecue. There's an ego involved in being like, yeah, let's smoke 60 briskets. Like, we're totally going to sell that. At Greenway, like, our average was probably like 14 briskets a day because we were open just for lunch. And that was what that's what our average was. And that was pre-pandemic. So I think Patrick was trying to figure it all out. And he definitely underestimated, because people were coming up to the register and ordering 4 pounds of brisket. And so within an hour, Patrick was like, I think we're about to run out of brisket. And I'm like, no way.
That's such an awful feeling too.
And I stood at the register and I listened to like 3 or 4 people order. And I'm like, well, I can see how that would be happening, because, we underestimated how much each individual would order. And then I also think we just kind of underestimated how many people were going to show up. But yeah, we ran out very quickly, and not in the good way, not in the way where you're like, we cooked so much and sold so much. It's like, guys, we really underestimated today, and we can't do that again. And but it luckily a lot of the people that came on Father's Day were people that we know, so we were able to
Yeah.
get up to them. But yeah, people at Spring Branch just tend to order much heavier. I think they're feeding multiple people or taking it home.
Are you seeing like a lot of to-go business too? Is that something that you're getting? Tons.
Mm-hmm.
How weird! Like it's so weird. That I mean, not weird. No weird. This it's just who knew what you were getting into. And this, for people that might not know, how long have you been planning, and when were you actually going to be opening if the pandemic hadn't happened?
I mean, we've been planning for this restaurant for about 2 years. We signed the lease in February of last year, and so like probably 3 weeks before everything was shut down, we signed the lease, and then we spent the entire pandemic year struggling for survival at Greenway, while also building, getting with a contractor, building out a restaurant, kind of navigating the various material price increases. Steel's expensive, now lumber's expensive, and
hard to get sometimes
now you
too,
can't find any plumbers or plumber parts because everything froze in Houston. Like, it was insane. It's always insane. Like, building out a restaurant and opening a restaurant is never like a not insane process, but I feel like there were just so many additional fun obstacles.
quote unquote fun.
Yeah. Yes. Like and everything was done on Zoom. Like we had 2 months worth of meetings with our contractor, and then the pandemic happened, and all of a sudden we were designing and building out a restaurant over Zoom.
That's insane.
And it was challenging. It was doable. I think we all learned that it's doable. Everything can be done a different way, just may not be ideal, but I definitely think it slowed things down. We were originally planning to be open in like February or March of this year, and we didn't open until June 19th. So
wow, that's crazy. Did it turn out the way, like, I don't know if you want to answer it 100%, but did it turn out the way you wanted it to turn out, or are there things that you would have wanted different? I guess maybe you'll know in a year too, I guess, like how things.
I mean, like, the building itself is beautiful. Yeah. I think our space it's amazing. And I love,
it looks gorgeous.
I love seeing it with people in it. I love the silent westerns on the walls. I love the whole feel of it. I don't know that it feels how I thought it would feel. And I don't know that it ever could have, because I think that's like one of those things you paint a picture of, like, at night about like, what is it going to be like to sit in your restaurant? And I definitely had all these dreams about like Wyatt sitting next to me and he's eating dinner. Like, we're feeding him there. He's doing his homework there. And we actually very quickly decided we couldn't bring Wyatt up to the restaurant much. He's there on the weekends quite a bit, but like, he knows that we work there. And I think it really he realizes that that's the place that distracts us from him. So he really acts out. Like, we can take him to other restaurants and
that's interesting. Wow.
He does not want to behave at the restaurant that we own.
Someday. I think someday.
He runs into the kitchen too, because he got used to running into the kitchen before we were open. It was an empty restaurant, and he'd kind of walk the space with us when we were doing walkthroughs with our contractors, and like he just got used to kind of roaming freely. And now there's like orders. It's like, no, you can't just run into the kitchen. And he looks at us like, why not? I did it for months. And we're like, well, no, you can't do that anymore. So yeah, I think that's a big pivot. We really thought we were going to live there with our child, and now we're like, oh, he can't.
That's interesting. And that message, like when you're saying how to look and see people in your restaurant, or even in the evening to maybe be outside and see it full people and activity, and that's got to be a beautiful thing. It's like a surreal thing too, especially through what you've gone through.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where like I'll just be kind of silently just kind of watching, and I'll see our manager is opening a bottle of wine for a table, which to me that's like this beautiful like juxtaposition of like barbecue and wine, where you're getting table service if you order a bottle, you're getting like true bottle service. You know, they're bringing out the glassware, they're presenting the wine. So I'll watch as that kind of unfolds. And then the table next to it is like 3 kids and they're running outside to go play in the kids play area. And it really makes me happy because I feel like we're able to really provide services for so many different people, you know, family friendly, but we're also, you know, have a little, you know, more options in terms of like the wine and the beer, and the food's, you know, a little bit more elevated. And that's what we really wanted. And that's beautiful to see.
You're probably getting a lot of people, and you will get a lot of people that never went to Greenway and never would go to Greenway. Like it's just you're going to get a clientele that just wouldn't have gone there.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm surprised by how many people come into Spring Branch and say, I'm so excited you've opened. I live in the neighborhood. I've actually been to your Spring Branch location. That surprises me. How many people traveled to this office complex, parked, you know, in the parking garage and found their way into the food court. But there's also, you know, similarly, a lot of people that say, I've been wanting your barbecue for so long, and I just, you know, I worked during the week and I couldn't make it down there.
Yeah, of course.
And so it really feels good to be able to finally have this restaurant where we can say like, yes, I'm glad that we are finally a convenient option for you.
Now can people, like, what time should people get there? Like, what kind of patterns are you seeing and especially because a lot of people, there's a diverse amount of people that watch this, but mostly are people that really love barbecue. So what should they, like, on the weekends, should they get there early, or are you seeing a line, or
No, not really. I mean, Tuesday through Friday, we have busy lunches, but we never have like the barbecue line. There might be, you know, right at 11, you could walk right in and go up to the register. By like 11:30, there's a little bit of a crowd, but it's not like a substantial barbecue line. We have like a constant flow of people.
Okay.
Today, when I left the restaurant, we live really close to the restaurant. So I left the restaurant 5 minutes before we were scheduled to jump on this Zoom call. And I was walking out the door and we were still packed. Wow. And it's 2 p.m. So from like 11:30 to 2, it is constant. And that really surprised me. I thought we would for sure have these lulls, you know, from like 2 to 4, we'd be empty. We could do staff meetings, and that's not proving to be the case. I mean, we still have a steady stream of people all the way through until dinner. It's really hard to kind of distinguish lunch and dinner service because there's always people in the building coming in and ordering food.
Wow. Do you need to get that? Is that something that you need?
No, I think it's just somebody left us a Google review. 5 stars.
Did you really? Nice. Okay, so that's to let people know. So if you leave a review on Google, you'll get it. So is that how it is? They push like Yelp reviews and Google reviews? I've never had a restaurant before. Like, I've managed, but that was back in the day when. So is that what happens? You get push notification?
I do, yeah. Like, because I manage the Google. I don't get Yelp ones, but I get Google and Square reviews come directly to my phone because everything's linked to my email. My email is like the administrator of the entire organization. So everything Feges BBQ is funneled through my inbox.
Gotcha.
And so every review through Google or Square, I get a notification about.
Oh man, that's good and bad, right?
It's good and bad. Most of them are good.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The ones on Google that haven't been very good are full of good information for us, like valuable learning information. Yelp, I completely disregard. I ignore it. I hardly ever read it. I think Yelp is
garbage.
Useless. Yelp is garbage, and it serves no valid function other than to make people feel important.
Yeah.
It doesn't help the restaurant industry. It doesn't help you. I don't think it's a very useful tool in finding a good option for dinner or somewhere to eat. But Google, I have found, is pretty reliable. And the reviews that we get about us, even if they're not favorable, I have to say they're legitimate. It's like a legitimately helpful review.
Yeah. And like at this point right now, if someone were to go to your website and email you just something that they thought that they noticed or something, you would take that as good feedback. Like it's something that you would love right now, but it's people, and that's something, like if someone's listening to this and they see something out of the ordinary, they should let you know because you want to know.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And like one of the things that happened to us in the first 2 weeks is our AC was working and then it stopped. And it was incredibly hot. And we had a lot of people review us and complain about the AC, almost as if we were like intentionally making it hot, like cheap, like we were cheap and just didn't want to like pay for like adequate AC. And we're like, no, like we are putting so much, we were buying portacools, we were doing everything we could. And it was 82 degrees in our dining room and humid. And we could do nothing about it. And it went day after day after, I mean, the AC company kept coming, they came out every day, and we kept being like hopeful that today's the day they're going to really get to fix it. And it just, they couldn't figure out what was wrong, and they could figure out what was wrong, but it was going to take, a couple of days to get it fixed. And it has a lot to do with Houston trying to become a green city.
Interesting.
Yeah, something about variable speeds with air conditioning units, which is very new, because in Houston, AC units run constantly. There's nothing variable about it. They're just like on and they're on high. Yeah. And, but there's a lot of new requirements, like building code requirements, that are good in the grand scheme of things. But that really was ultimately the issue. So for 2 weeks, we were getting bad reviews about having a warm dining room. And I don't know what to do with it other than
that's a weird, isn't that you think?
We know it's warm. We wish more than anything we could solve it. Neither of us are AC techs, so we're relying on the intelligence and expertise and hard work of other people. And
but it's like, isn't that the kind of thing that you would go to, like someone working there and say, it's really hot, and they say, well, our AC, and then you would know the answer, then you wouldn't put a review. Right. Like I've been in a barbershop and I'm like, it's so hot, and the guy's like, oh, I forgot to put the AC on. I'm like, okay, well then, yeah, it's a mistake. You wouldn't intentionally want to like cook your customers as, it's just, people are silly. That's
right. Well, and it's like our staff was hot. Like we had people working the dining room that were just like, we'd have staff members that were like sweating, and we'd be like, I'm so sorry. It affected everybody.
Yeah, of course.
And
imagine the kitchen.
The kitchen got it the worst, but luckily we're just like, you guys should be used to that.
Yeah, the kitchen people, like of course. And the way you've lived through like all that, that it's you have to be tough for that. Well, now if someone shows up, I have like 6 questions in my head right now. Do you have a bar?
We don't have a bar. We have a counter where you order your food, and then all the alcohol beverages are also right there and served right there.
But there's not bar seating, right? It's not that a place like that.
Not in the sense that you're thinking. We do have like some tall seating, like some bar height tables that are positioned so that you can just stare at the smoke room and watch Patrick and his team season things, and it's just a higher table.
That's cool. I didn't know that today.
Yeah, in fact, that's like a lot of people's favorite.
The prime spot, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a voyeuristic pit view of. Okay, well, I didn't know. Okay, that's cool. And then if, like, say someone shows up at 8 o'clock, they can. There's a lot. If you're sold out of certain meats, there's so much on the menu. And is fried chicken something you offer at Greenway? Is that? I thought I had seen it once or twice. Maybe
we've done some specials with fried chicken. We don't offer fried chicken every day at Greenway. It's hard because Greenway is not really set up to cook anything to order.
Okay.
So it's hard to do things like fried chicken unless you just like batch them out or have an extra person there one day who's just in the back.
Yeah.
Like, chicken, and then drop the chicken. But also the flow at Greenway is so fast. Anything that takes more than like 2 minutes,
it doesn't make sense.
Drops an anchor in the flow.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have fried chicken, but I mean, we try not to run out of brisket. So we try to go into dinner service with enough brisket to get through dinner. I mean, we close at 9. So if you show up at 8, we should still have.
Okay. That's your goal.
Things. Yeah, that's the goal. And we have found ways to kind of incorporate like leftover brisket gets used in the brisket and pimento cheese grilled cheese. So that way there's like an incentive to not be so close to the line that most people that come in late won't get brisket, because the incentive is, well, you need some brisket left over for tomorrow because we have to chop it up and put it into these other dishes.
Gotcha. That pimento cheese brisket sounds so good. Like that's not something you ever had at Greenway, right?
It's not. We did it once or twice for like, grilled cheese day or something, but no, it's, and again, it's for the same reason we don't really do the fried chicken is it's best cooked to order, and that's really hard to do at Greenway.
Yeah. Are there any unique things that you like that you want to mention that those people can know about? And then do you have special, like different special every day? And then desserts, are you guys making desserts or bringing them in? Or?
Yeah, we're making the desserts in-house. Right now, we still have the same 3 desserts that we had that we also have at Greenway. So we're doing the banana and caramel cream pie, bread pudding, and the PB&J chocolate cake. But we're very close to being able to really add to our menu. We wanted to create more dessert options, which we're about to do. My favorite dish on our menu is the hanger steak. It's a porcini rubbed hanger steak. So it's a porcini powder. I'm not going to tell you guys the recipe because I almost just did because I'm super
you're just
about it.
should I edit that out?
But it's got porcini.
Okay, and porcini makes sense because it's in the name of the dish, so that's okay.
Yeah, and it's just like super umami, and it creates this like really nice crust. But we sear the hanger steak, and then it's served over roasted cauliflower and romesco, and it's a phenomenal dish. It never touches smoke, which is, a lot of things on our menu at some point, like the smokers play into it. I mean, this is kind of one of those dishes that's it's a restaurant dish. It's a restaurant dish that's elevated and delicious and super easy to eat, and I just want to eat one right now.
I want to eat one right now too. This sucks. I'm so dumb to do these because if I talk to places.
We should do these in person, right? You should fly to LA and have them bring food.
But I don't exist. I'm not real. I'm just this guy that does these with the thatch thing behind me. It's not.
You're a really great Russian bot.
I am. Like you can't tell. Yeah, this is actually Tom Cruise. No. But now. That would be awful. Now with the hanger steak, can you get that at lunch and dinner? Mm-hmm. Oh. So all these, everything, is there anything specific, like a special for lunch, special for dinner, or are you going to try to keep it so it's consistent?
No, we're going to try to do things for both. We talked about maybe having a slightly different menu, and then ultimately we just decided it's easier for the kitchen.
Yeah.
If you don't have to completely transition from one menu to another. And then in terms of specials, it just seemed like, I run all of our social media. And as somebody running social media, I'm like, how do I advertise this? And then say, oh, only for dinner, sorry. It's like, it just
no,
seems
you can't.
mean, like, oh, you want to come for lunch? Too bad, you don't get this. So I'm like, it's not harder for us or our kitchen to make things available all day. And it just made more sense. And that way more people can enjoy it. And then we're, likely going to sell more of it. So that's how we've approached it.
Okay. What's Patrick's favorite dish?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Probably the ribs.
The ribs? Just like the ribs from that you guys have always had. Your ribs.
The ribs we've always had. I also think so I'm trying to think of what Patrick orders because we eat there every day. So we're working through I don't know. Actually, probably the fried chicken. Yeah. The fried chicken platter.
Now, are you guys going to have a brunch menu? Because I know it's 11 to 3 on Sundays, or is it that's just the time that it?
Yeah, I don't think so. We talked about doing something brunch-like, but the reality is everybody that's there probably really wants the barbecue, and then brunch would just compete with barbecue. Yeah.
And it might add to confusion.
Also, brunch is like Patrick's least favorite thing in the entire world.
He doesn't like brunch. That's a good takeaway.
He doesn't like working brunch. He doesn't mind going and getting brunch and getting to drink bottomless mimosas and ordering eggs in a very difficult way. But he doesn't like to be the recipient of that, being in the kitchen and having to work a brunch service.
Well, I think you guys could probably survive without having brunch. I think that's fine. Yeah, and also too, it's good because then you get done at 3, and not that you're ever done from anything because you have a lot of wheels in the air, but everything's going on. But I think that
might stay open past 3 on Sundays.
That's coming up, maybe.
Well, okay, so we did a staff meeting this past Sunday, and the meeting started at 5, and we were in the meeting from 5 to 7, and we turned away probably 40 people that came to the door. Families, kids show up. And the door was locked. We'd meet them at the door, explain that we were closed, hand them a menu, try to make light of the situation, kind of give them some recommendations for where else to go. Mostly these were neighborhood people. I could tell a lot of people just walked up from the neighborhood.
Because you had said this is a walkable place, right?
Yeah. And so, in fact, one family showed up. It was 2 kids on Razor scooters, and one kid was driving his Mercedes, the little kids.
Yeah.
Like he was just driving it up, 5 miles an hour, just cruised right up to the front door. And I literally looked at him and I said, that's a really nice ride. You are the first person I am almost tempted to just open up and make these guys start cooking for you. But unfortunately, we're not open. And so I came home from that meeting and I said to Patrick, I go, you're not going to want to hear this. And he goes, what? What happened? And I go, we got to be open on Sunday, like all night. We've got to extend our hours. I said, we can't close at 3. There's too much demand. And none of us realized it because we were all
how would you know
going home,
yeah.
We weren't there. And I'm like, we've got to do it. So he was reluctant. He didn't really like the sound of that because he was like, that's our rest night. And I'm like, well, I'd rather it be our make money night. And so, yeah, I think it's going to probably take us about 3 or 4 weeks to just figure out the scheduling. And because I think we're going to need to hire a manager to help alleviate the burden if we're adding this shift. But yeah, I think we're going to be open on Sunday nights.
Okay. So pay attention to your social media and you'll announce it. And wow, that's interesting. And you have merch there. Like
tons of merch. Yeah. New shirts. We did all new designs this past year. So we've got new merchandise options. And that the new stuff will be available online very soon. We're about to launch online ordering for Spring Branch. You can always online order for Greenway for merchandise as well. But for Spring Branch, we're about to get everything launched. And then we still do shipping nationwide.
I was going to ask about that.
For buy in bulk. Which you did a really great job this past year of helping us promote that.
Well, I love you guys. I want you guys to be successful. And I love too, like I said, I'm a Russian bot. I'm here trying to help people out. I'm just until I get on the road. I'll still help people out when I get on the road, but still I want to help you guys out as much as possible. And I know that this has been a tough year for a lot of you guys, and you've changed and you've added so many different things, and it's hard for people to keep track. So I was trying to be as helpful as possible, but I'll put links below to all of that because I want to know if you're still going to be doing the nationwide shipping. And then catering, I'm sure that's going to become a bigger part of your business too because of this, right?
We did our first catering event for Spring Branch last night, and it was it was very exciting. I was the one who was in charge and organized it, and we got to cook for some people associated with the Texans, and I think that's all I could say.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a lot of fun, and I was like, let's do more things like this.
That's fun. No, that's exciting. That's really cool. So that's something that is it best to reach out through the website for that?
Yeah, so you can reach out through the website. There's catering requisition forms online, so that's
for both spots, right?
Yeah, for both locations. And then at the very least, you can always reach out to me directly, Erin at fegesbbq.com. And that's also an option to get in touch.
So it'll either be a Google review or someone asking for catering. It'll be
no,
but also too, for the pre-orders, is that something where will there be a specific pre-order area that people will be coming to? Like, is that even
like when you pick up at the restaurant? Yeah, we have a pickup counter. So there will be, like, if you place an order for pickup, there's a designated area for you to come and check in. And your order should be ready if you show up at the time that you've indicated. If you're early, we'll just, give you a cup and tell you to grab an iced tea and we'll bring your order out.
Can you pre-order for dine-in? That's silly. That's insanity, right? Is that insanity?
I suppose you could. You pre-order it. It all arrives in to-go packaging, and then you just go take it to a table. But I mean, most people that are pre-ordering for takeout. And we have had a lot of requests, and we weren't able to accommodate until we're working on getting that stuff ready. But probably within like the next week or two, we'll have pre-order for Spring Branch live. Okay. So you can order online. And it's just convenient. You come in, your order's ready, you pick it up, you go. And we also do delivery, but the delivery is it's limited to $250 order or higher. But so a lot of what happens is like offices get together and you get 10 or 15 people.
Perfect.
Guys place an order together and then it's delivered. So it's super convenient.
Yeah, no, I've talked to a number of restaurants just in my area that have said that kind of business is picking up again. Like that was something because people weren't working in offices or trying not to. I think people are being forced now to come back to offices.
They have to come back 80% of the time.
Is that someone was telling me that I guess people had moved to different cities and they thought they could work remotely, and now the business is saying, come back, you have to come back to the office or have another job. So it's like,
No, there's a lot of weird stuff like that. But no, what we're seeing at Greenway, and also just like with people we know throughout the city, is they're required to go back to work 3 days of the week. So not 5 days, 3 days. So they're meeting, there's some compromise, they're meeting in the middle.
Interesting. Well, is there anything that we missed about this? Is exciting. I'm sure, and another reason why I'm doing this, Erin, is that I want you to be able to look back a year from now. Hopefully you'll want to look at this and see, you know, what you were thinking. This is like kind of like a little slice of your life, and you're like, I wish I had these from when I was a kid, like videos of, you know, what I was thinking, and it'll be interesting to see how different it is. Maybe we check back in a year to see how things are going.
You know, the last time we talked was like pre-pandemic.
Yeah, like right before, right?
Like right before. And I've watched that again because it was fascinating to me what you and I collectively, like what we thought was happening.
I should see that again. I haven't watched, I watched it about 8 months ago, but I can't remember. That was such a weird time. Oh.
Yeah, that was crazy. But no, I mean, I'm trying to think of what we've got. Our first big wine event coming up. It's called Rhinestone Cowboy. It's with Wines of Germany. And I'm super nervous about it. I think it's going to be a flawless event and it's going to be great. But like, this is a really important event for us to kind of establish ourselves in the wine world.
Okay.
And being a barbecue restaurant, I feel like we've got to get it right. We've got to nail it so that we know that we can continue to do things like this. So I'm excited. It's Tuesday, July 27th from 5 to 7.
Okay.
Barbecue German wines paired with our menu, and it's gonna be good.
Can't wait to visit both locations in person so I can actually see what they look like instead of just seeing them online. So that'll be.
I can't wait to go back to work and tell Patrick that he was not missed. Patrick, we had so much fun without you. Sorry you had to work.
Could I keep that in there?
Yes.
The artist that did your work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Part of our aesthetic that it just worked out so well. Laura Goodson, she's the black and white cowboy artist. It fit perfectly with our theme. We happened to know her. So we had a little like and I called her one day, or I messaged her one day and I just said, hey, would you want to do a mural for us? And she said, yeah. And she ended up doing the mural and a painting inside. And the mural she just did for fun.
Really?
She just did the mural for fun because she's just an awesome human being. But so we've got, I think it's her biggest cowboy art piece to date, lives and exists inside Feges BBQ. So if you want to see it, you have to come to Feges BBQ. But she's a phenomenal human being, and we're really excited to have gotten to work with Laura Goodson.
Nice. I'll put a link below to her stuff so that way people can check her stuff out. But yeah, I was meaning to mention that because I thought that was really neat. Do you also have something else from another barbecue joint at your place or no?
Another barbecue joint.
Is that pig? Is that from?
Oh yeah, Cupcake. Like rules our kids play area.
Yeah.
And Cupcake is a relic. Originally, he lived, and he was not named Cupcake until a few months ago. But originally he lived at Baker's Ribs, which is now Regal's Barbecue. So our good friends Russell and Misty were trying to throw the pig away because it's very creepy.
It is.
And they were trying to throw it away. And Patrick was like, no, can I have it? And they were like, yeah, of course. Patrick kept it in our backyard for like 8 years. And then this past year, it spent a year at a boat shop getting repaired because it's all fiberglass. And so it's a completely redone, brand new, still very creepy looking, but much prettier creepy looking, massive pig head named Cupcake. And so many people recognize it when they come in. They say, that's from the Pig on Boss. Like that's from Baker's Ribs. And, so yeah. And Misty and Russell have both been in and both been like,
no, it's alive.
We thought we got rid of that thing.
Yeah, it's like a bad horror movie.
Yes.
It came back better, but and I recognized it. I thought, at least when I saw it, I thought that looks extremely familiar. I think it connected to Russell and Misty, but then when I started seeing people, how did you get Cupcake? How did that name come about?
Oh, my niece looked at it one day and she goes, "Is his name Cupcake?" And I was like, "Sure."
Perfect. Okay.
He doesn't look like a cupcake, but sure. And that's
Okay.
how we got his name.
Okay. Will you guys eventually sell cupcakes at your place?
We might have to because of the existence of Cupcake. Cupcake now has a bunch of rules too. We had to post a sign that says don't climb on Cupcake. Don't beat Cupcake with a stick.
Don't be cupcake.
Don't beat your siblings with a stick. It's just kind of funny, like after observing the kids playing for a month, like the rules that we've had to create, they seem more common sense now, but I had not thought they would be necessary prior to opening.
Do you guys have sticks around or something for?
Well, we have like a ring toss game, and
There
they
you go.
take the ring toss game and they use it as a bat, and they beat up Cupcake, and sometimes they beat up each other.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, that's a good way to end.
Well, we threw away the ring toss game. We were like, ooh, it's the older kids. The younger kids are usually pretty innocent. They haven't gotten to the point in life where they're wanting to beat anything up. But yeah. So Cupcake has to be protected, and had to create some rules.
Does Wyatt like Cupcake, or is Wyatt scared of?
Wyatt is not scared of Cupcake. Wyatt is like fascinated by it.
It is odd. It's such an odd looking thing. It's just, and so that's out in the patio, and there's a play area on the. Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, the kids are never scared of Cupcake. It's only adults. Every adult that walks by it is like, "Oh, that's so creepy," and the kids are just not fazed by it.
If you eat outside, is it covered?
It's a covered patio. The kids' play area is partially covered, but every other part of our patio is covered.
That's cool.
Covered.
Excellent.
We've got fans and lighting, and we're continuing to make it a very comfortable place to sit and dine.
That's awesome.
Which is hard to do in the dog days of summer in Houston.
Oh no, I know. And then it'll be, and then it gets kind of cold too, right?
Yeah, by fall's going to be great. We're going to have perfect patio weather.
Yeah. Enjoy your day. It was nice talking to you.